Crews say a fire burning in the wreckage of Thursday's deadly building collapse is slowing the search for survivors. Part of the 12-story building collapsed early Thursday morning in the city of Surfside outside of Miami. Rescuers found a few survivors shortly after the building fell, but since then they have not pulled anyone out alive. Officials say crews have been digging trenches to find and isolate the source of the fire at the scene. The work is incredibly difficult. Move too slow and the chances of finding survivors disappears. Move too fast and they risk destabilizing the pile of rubble. Rescue teams are using sonar and infrared technology. Miami-Dade's county mayor updated the search and rescue efforts Saturday morning after another long night of work by emergency crews.
The numbers are the same as they were yesterday. 127 have been accounted for, 159 unaccounted for, and 4 confirmed dead. Our top priority now continues to be search and rescue. We continue to have hope. We're continuing to search. We're looking for people alive in the rubble. That is our priority, and our teams have not stopped. Hour after hour through the night, they have been working.
CBS News national correspondent Mark Strassman is in Surfside, Florida, with more.
With high-tech tools like cameras and listening devices, along with brute strength and bucket brigades, urban search and rescue teams looked for any survivors from early Thursday morning's tower collapse. 55 apartment units pancaked as people inside them slept. Now time may be running out.
All of our training tells us that for at least the first 72 hours, there are high likelihood of people that could be alive in there.
Crews battle fire, rain, exhaustion, and even the threat of another disaster.
The building you see behind me is also in danger of potential collapse.
While rescuers face those risks, family members of the missing face uncertainty.
I think I'm trying to brace myself for the worst and the best, and it's really hard. Just not knowing is just the worst part.
Sergio Lozano is looking for his parents.
I was on the phone with her at 1:30. She called me up and she said, I think there's an earthquake. And she looked out the balcony and the pool area had kind of a sinkhole. And then the building started to shake, rattle, and she screamed, and then the phone went dead.
Forensic inspectors wonder whether something failed underneath the building. To support its weight, the tower's builders had to drive concrete pilings deep into the sandbar. One coastal threat, saltwater intrusion. It can seep into the concrete, corrode the steel inside the pilings, and worst case, shift the base of a building. After the calamity, officials reportedly saw a hole opening up under the garage.
They will try to see where the source of where the water is coming from, and did that penetrate into the columns and foundations.
As a 40-year-old building, Champlain South's Condo Association is required by county law to re-inspect from the ground up. An engineer's report from 2018, obtained by CBS News, found abundant cracking in concrete columns, beams, and walls in the parking garage, and major structural damage to a concrete structural slab caused by failed waterproofing that, if not repaired in a timely fashion, would cause the concrete to deteriorate exponentially. Donna Berger is an attorney representing the condo board.
And from the engineers that I've been speaking to, they believe it's probably a subsurface issue. What that means is, what was the infrastructure on which this building was built?
That 2018 engineering report specifically talked about issues not only in the parking garage, but structural problems underneath the pool deck and underneath the entrance drive. They were just about to get started working on some of those issues when the building collapsed 2.5 years later. Lana?
Mark, thank you. Florida State Representative Joe Geller joins us now. He represents the 100th District, which includes Surfside. Representative Geller, thanks for being here. So crews have not found any survivors since Thursday, but officials say that they are still optimistic. How much of that is wishful thinking? Is there still real reasons for officials to be so hopeful?
Well, there are reasons to be hopeful, and we are all praying. We have nationally recognized search and rescue teams from Miami-Dade County. They're on the scene with assistance from the state and federal government. They have incredible equipment, not just sniffing dogs out, but They literally have listening equipment that can hear someone breathing or scratching. There is some hope that there are some places where there might be what they call a void, where someone could be sheltered safely. They may not be able to respond, but right now the priority continues to be a search and a hope that someone can still be pulled alive from that building.
Well, we certainly join you in the hope and in the prayers. What are you hearing from survivors and family members who have loved ones missing after the collapse?
You know, it's a terribly tense and worrisome time. There are some people, unaccounted for does not mean that they were in the building. Some people could have been traveling. They might not have been in touch with family, and we're certainly hoping that that's the case. I spoke with one friend who lived in the building, and they were awakened in the middle of the night. He was fortunate to be in the section that didn't collapse. They opened their front door, 5 feet of hallway and nothing, and they tried to get out. Ultimately, they had to be rescued off their balcony by fire department cherry pickers, but thank God they're alive. And our prayers are going that they'll be successful. These tremendously brave first responders, many of whom are risking their own safety, they're out there doing everything they can in the hope that we can find another miracle.
And we have heard that the use of heavy equipment has increased at the collapse site. Is this speeding up the search process?
It ought to be. It comes at some risk, of course, but as the hours tick away, you have to take stronger measures to try to see if there is still the opportunity to find someone who's been able to survive this long. That's very much the focus, trying to provide some comfort to people who don't know about the safety and well-being of their own family. I fear we will have more bad news as time goes on, but we're also hoping that maybe there can still be some good news.
Yeah. Representative Geller, CBS News obtained a field survey from 2018 which highlights cracking and concrete deterioration at several of the garage's support beams, along with other signs of major structural damage. The report states that the building owners should address the problems, quote, in a timely manner. That was 2.5 years ago. Officials said Saturday that they weren't aware of the report before the collapse. Why not?
I don't know the answer to that, and certainly there are a lot of questions to be asked. The idea that saltwater intrusion has contributed to this is at least logical, but we don't know that that's the fact yet. Does the fact that sea levels are rising and that maybe more water is coming in than previously play a role? That is an important question, too. We're going to look at this exhaustively. We're going to find out why this happened. It may take some time, but as I said, right now, there are a lot of unanswered questions. But for the moment, our focus is on trying to find survivors and on trying to comfort people who may have lost family members. But all those questions are going to be asked, and we're going to not rest till we find answers.
In the time that we have remaining together, Representative, I want to talk to you about something that we heard from an architect that we spoke with. He was worried that the collapse might have impacted other buildings in the area. Do you know if any of those buildings are being inspected?
I know that they're looking. I can't tell you that we have any definitive findings, but I know that there are people that are out there checking as we speak. The fact is, I don't want to be alarmist and say there is definitely a risk there, but I can say that if you're there in one of those neighboring buildings and you don't feel safe, find another place to stay, at least until the inspections can be completed. That is undergoing. That's underway now.
State Representative Joe Geller, our hearts go out to you and everybody there in Surfside. Thank you.
Thank you for covering this story.